This is the new Abarth 500 electric, and first things first, much has been made of its extra loud synthetic sound generator designed to create a more emotional driving experience. So I think let's begin the video by seeing what it sounds like. So, power on. Give some gas. It's loud.
The Fully Charged show is generating positive energy with its live events all around the world. Next up, it's Fully Charged Live Canada. Click the top right of the screen to get your tickets today.
So then, welcome to the Abarth 500e, the spicier sibling of the charming Fiat 500e, a car which, by the way, we give nowhere near enough credit to on this channel. It's a lovely little thing. And I just want to start by setting the table a little bit for this video, because what this car is not is perfect. It's not for everyone. It's not designed to be for everyone. It uses the same battery as the bigger battery version of 500e. In this car, that means maybe 150 miles of real world range when the weather's good, and less when it's not. Not exactly a range monster then. Equally, not the cheapest small electric car, starting at just over £34,000. Long story short, if you're looking for the most range and practicality for your money, something like an MG4 obliterates this car in every sensible metric going. But we're not here to talk about sensible metrics today, and frankly, I'm willing to forgive this car for being a little bit flawed in a few ways, because what we have here is a pioneer. This is the first car to declare itself an electric hot hatchback, an electric version of my favourite type of car. And the one thing on my mind today for this speedy first drive is it a proper hot hatch? And for me, a great hot hatch, it's all about one thing. It's all about adding a little bit of special to the everyday, making boring driving less boring. A great hot hatch must not just be good down a twisty B road, it has to be fun sitting in traffic. It has to be fun standing still. So let's start there. So, first things first, is it fun standing still? Yes, it is. Look at it. It's a little thug of a car. It looks like an 8-year-old jacked up on Monster Energy drink designed it, and that is how an Abarth should be. Lovely stance to it. This is something that the Coupe Reborn, which is sort of like a warm hatchback, lets itself down on. Lovely design, muscular bumpers and arches, and then these slightly piddly wheels tucked into the body ruins the whole thing. Not the case here. This is 6 centimeters wider than the Fiat 500 electric. Fantastic wheel design. I love the new Scorpion badge for these electric Abarth cars. I love these little slices of plastic for the indicators here. Great looking thing, and comes in some really funky colors like this poison yellow and that blue one over there, which is called yeah blue, or something equally cool and fun and young. And it's the same story inside. So, interior of the Abarth 500, you are not going to mistake this for a regular Fiat product, because Alcantara everywhere, on the dash, on the steering wheel, on these lovely bucket seats, which I'm really enjoying this two-tone stitching as well. These are the two launch colours of the car, the blue and the green / yellow. And we've got the big Scorpion badge in front of us, just reminding us as soon as we get in that this is a special vehicle. Also, worth noting, bespoke EV architecture, plenty of space in such a little diddy car, not so much in the back seats, but that's understandable. It really is quite a practical little cabin. I've even got a wireless phone charger. On less practical note, let's talk about the sound, shall we? The actual sound, not the Bobby sound, because when you press the start button, you get a guitar riff. And now it's idling. I'll go into neutral, I'll give you some revs. That is going to take some getting used to in an electric car. It's worth noting that Abarth, before they were building their own products, were essentially a naughty exhaust maker for Fiats. So sound is absolutely central to what these guys are about, and they had to try something. This is what they've gone with. So let's move on to low-speed driving. Can the Abarth make pootling around town entertaining? This is something that petrol Abarths are especially good at, because one little blip of the throttle and one pop and bang of the exhaust and you're giggling like a silly goose. But is it good? Well, allegedly it's the result of 6,000 hours of research and development and testing and tweaking, and this is the result of those 6,000 hours. Sounds like a petrol Abarth through a slightly tinny speaker, I'll be completely honest with you. When you're really starting to move it along, it does sound quite good and it does add something to the experience, but when you're just driving at steady speed, it's an awful drone, I have to say. Same when I'm idling, just sat stationary, it does give me a bit of a headache. I suppose it's been a while since I sat in a car that made noise. This is when it's good. When you get a bit of a move on and you've just got some sort of audio context for your acceleration. And ideally, you just have a push button here to turn it off and on. I don't want it when I'm sat in traffic. I don't really want it when I'm doing sensible driving. I want it when I'm sending it. Unfortunately, you've got to go deep into the menus to turn it off or on, so you sort of have to decide early doors. I think my choice would be off. In fact, give us a minute. Oh, that's better. Oh, it feels like there was a bee in here and now it's gone. I think one thing this car has taught me is I'm not adverse to the idea of EVs making a bit of noise. I like it on the BMW iCars especially, but what I like about those ones is you can only really hear it when you plant your foot. The rest of the time it's not there droning in the background, which is the worst thing about engine noise. Secondly, I like that those BMW iCars don't sound like ICE cars. The one thing that I don't want my EV to sound like is an impersonation of a petrol car. Come up with something different, innovate. Of course, sound isn't the only way that you can make a car entertaining to drive at low speeds. And again, I think just the sportiness of this steering wheel that I'm holding on to, the fact that the steering is a little bit heavier and has a little bit more feel to it than most EVs, is really adding a little sense of occasion. The car is quite firmly sprung. This is all straight out the Abarth playbook. There are some hot hatchbacks that want to be really, really sensible and practical and normal feeling most of the time, and then you push a button, they go all crazy. That's not the Abarth way. These cars want you to know you're in something a bit silly all the time, and I would say it's mission success in here on that front. The only question that remains as far as whether or not this is a proper hot hatchback is, how does it feel when you really hurry it along? So I'm going to go from Scorpion Street, which is sport mode, into Scorpion Track, which is very sport mode. I've got less regen braking now, so I can make use of the brake pedal and really get involved with driving the car, and let's just wriggle on. So, first impression, love how tiny it is, especially on British B roads like this. A big old lorry just came the other way, and in most fast EVs, I'd have had to slam on the brakes and breathe in and squeak past, but in this, I didn't even slow down. This is properly small. We've gotten into the habit of calling cars that are 4 and a bit meters small. I've got shoes bigger than this car. And when you're trying to throw something around a lovely twisty B road, all of a sudden, that narrow road feels like a racetrack and you can kind of pick your line through a corner. There you go, big lorry, don't care. No need to slow down at all. And it's unbelievably planted, I'll tell you what. It may be short, but it's thick. It's got a wide track, this car, and that makes it incredibly stable. As does that stiffened up suspension, super planted through these corners. Is it fast enough? There's been a lot of talk about the performance figures, about 150 horsepower, 0 to 60 in 7 seconds. That is pretty modest by modern hot hatch standards. But I don't think I'd want a lot more. I'm so much more interested in cars that make going reasonably quickly feel good than cars that go really, really, really fast. And in the sporty modes, if you're at 30 miles an hour and you punch it, it feels quick. It's going to run out of puff pretty quickly once you get up to motorway speed, but that's not really what this car's for. I think it's enough power. And what I'm really appreciating with this Abarth compared to so many other performance EVs is that it doesn't feel especially heavy, because it's not. This car weighs 1,350 kilos. I think the petrol Abarth is 200 lighter than that, but it's got, of course, 300 kilos of battery matter under the floor. So people say, oh, it's not enough range, it should have had a bigger battery. I think they've judged it to perfection. 150 miles real world range is usable. That's not just a city car. And anymore, it would have weighed too much. It would have handled less well. It would have been less enjoyable to drive. I think with the current state of battery technology, with what we have available to us right now, this is perfectly judged. Another reminder, and I said this in the BMW i4 video, another reminder that an engine is just one of the things that can make a car really tactile and exciting to drive. Great steering, fantastic chassis, good weight distribution front to back, and this car is actually better balanced than the petrol car. Is this a true hot hatchback? Abso-flippin-lutely. Do you know what? I know someone who'd like this car. He's a fellow hot hatch enthusiast. He lives just round the corner from here. Shall we see if he's in?
Great stuff. Right.
Okay. Oh, there's nowhere to put your foot. Press brake pedal and start button. Oh. It is a, in inverted commas, hot hatch. Oh, yes, sir. We like that. I think it's fairly clear that the noise for the first 10 minutes someone buys this car is just going to make them so happy, and then the following 10 it's going to drive them bonkers. So here's one failing, I'm afraid already, is that, and I can't even think of a car where I haven't felt this, but normally in a car, an electric vehicle or an automatic, you've got two pedals, accelerator, brake, and then there's a kind of pad usually, or a bit of a gap where you can put your left foot, because your left foot's just dormant in vehicles like this. There's nowhere to put my left foot. I've got it tucked up because I don't want it to get in the way of the other two. I'm just going to be sensible. We're behind a sensible van going at a sensible speed in a suburban setting. No need for silliness. I know this hill really well. I drive up and down here regularly, and I would never. I drive up and down it very, very slowly normally, but this is such a pokey little car. It's fantastic. Whoa! I'm going to slow down. Basically, I'm a vicar now. I can't do that sort of driving anymore. I'd say this is so close to a boiling hot hatch. It's not quite there, but it's at a high simmer. You wouldn't want to put your finger in the pan, you'd burn it. You'd get a scald. No, this is way, way hotter than the Cupra Born, which was, you know, I like that car, and I've seen them around. They're really, I think they look great. But this is just more fun to drive, tighter, just a little terrier. This is a wild little terrier. No, I love it.
Initial thoughts then from this speedy first drive. Well, like I said at the top, it certainly isn't a car without its quirks and flaws. The range is going to be a slightly limiting factor for some, even though I think it is the right amount of battery for this car. The price is going to be considered a little too high by others. The fact you can't put your left leg anywhere is going to be annoying for all. However, as far as its ability to make you grin, stood outside of it, sitting in it parked, driving it along a lovely twisty B road, I don't know how many EVs have it beaten. I'm not sure any. It's just a silly little go-kart, and it makes you want to do silly things, and I still think we could do with a lot more of that. It's imperfect but endearing. Slightly obnoxious, but very entertaining. In other words, a proper Abarth, and certainly a proper hot hatch. So there we go, Abarth 500 electric. Very, very silly car, in all the best ways. Please make sure to like and subscribe, and if you have been, thanks for watching.